I won't be before you very long, but we have to ask ourselves, well, what just happened? It's in the books, All Out 2022, a whopping 15 matches. Whew. Now watch them all. Watch the whole show. 5 hours of wrestling. But let's dive into it. We won't last long on the pre-show. We have 4 matches on the pre-show. The first was the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships being defended by Sammy Guevara and Melo. They are the champions defending against Ortiz and Ruby Soho. And this wasn't a smooth match. It wasn't the best of matches. It feels like there's a little bit of miscommunication. Ruby actually broke her nose. Ty gave her a really, really stiff kick. But this story is really all about Sammy and Tay, and they are just insufferable, to say the least. They retained the championship. Next up, we had Hook versus Angelo Parker. Hook defending the FTW championship. There was no shock here. Hook wins. Hook stays undefeated. He taps out Angelo Parker. Angelo was game. He gave Hook a very, very tough challenge. Obviously, next he'll be defending against Matt Menard. He got attacked, and then Action Bronson, who was in the crowd, made the save. Next up, another championship match on the pre-show. Pac defending the All-Atlantic Championship against a returning Kip Sabian. This is Kip Sabian's first match in 522 days. I actually picked Kip Sabian to win this match, but Pac retained. This was a really solid match. Had a little bit of silliness. I am loving Kip Sabian's gimmick. He's talking to this box now. He's taking orders from it. It's great. Pac wins with the Black Arrow, and he has a new challenger now in Orange Cassidy. Pac's like, nah, we've done this before. No. And our final match on the pre-show was Eddie Kingston taking on Tomohiro Ishii. And this was just wow. This was such a hard-hitting, brutal affair. They just kept chopping each other, open hand slaps on each other, and just, you know what it reminded me of from just the same weekend, Sheamus versus Gunther. There's a little technicality involved, but this is definitely one of the best matches of the night. Kingston won, so we're probably going to get a rubber match because Ishii won the first match. Kingston won with a Northern Lights bomb. This was solid. This was such a solid, just hard-hitting, brutal affair, and you gotta love Eddie Kingston. On to the main card. First up, we opened up with the Casino ladder match. It will be it's Andrade, Roosh, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, Dante Martin, the Lucha Brothers, and the Joker. This was just a wild, high-flying affair. There was nothing really special about it. Instead, it was just guys doing spots on spots. At one point, I thought Wheeler Yuta just died. But what we're here to talk about for this match is the ending. And when it comes to the ending, so everyone's laid out, and masked men attack the ring. They start attacking people, and one of the masked men climbs the ladder. I could tell who it was just from one of the guys being super, super tall. The masked man grabbed the chip and unveiled himself as Stokely Hathaway. And everybody else on the mask, Ethan Page, W. Morrissey, the Gun Club, Lee Moriarty, Stokely in his faction. So the question is, what were they doing here? Then Sympathy for the Devil played on the loudspeaker, and another man walked out with a mask on, and Stokely gave him the chip. And we wondered who it was. We'll find out later in the evening. But yeah, that's how the match ended. The Joker won the match. He officially won the match. That's how it goes. Next up, we had the Trios Finals with the Elite, the team of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, taking on Alex Reynolds, John Silver, the Dark Order, and Hangman Page. The winners will be crowned the first ever AEW Trios champions, and this was fun. This was a high-octane, high-impact, high-work rate match with tons of athleticism, story for everybody. The Dark Order did not look out of place. Johnny Hungy got to go off. We know all of the story between the Elite and Hangman Page. This was just a really, really good match. One of the better matches of the evening. And the ending came when Hangman Page accidentally hits John Silver with a buckshot lariat. Omega scored the pin. This is simply put one of the better trios matches you will ever see, and there was so much involved. There were callbacks to previous matches, especially matches between Hangman and Kenny Omega, and this was just great. And Kenny just looks in the camera and says, "Try to beat that." It's a solid match, and we have our first ever trios champions in the Elite. Next up was the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill defending against Athena. Jade came out looking like She-Hulk. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now I think I picked Athena to win, but Jade won. This match was actually cut short on time. This match only went 4 minutes. It was a little sloppy at times. Look, they clearly had at least 10 minutes planned for this match, but their time was cut short and they put everything into the 5-minute match. But it made it exciting because it was just hit, move. And Athena really did give Jade her toughest challenger to date. And Jade's running through everybody. She's running through everybody in the division. So the question is, who's going to defeat her? And we thought it would have been Chris. We thought it would have been Ruby. Chris is hurt, and now Ruby's hurt. And now Athena lost. So it's a matter of who is going to beat Jade. Who knows? Next up, another trios match. Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns taking on the team of FTR and Wardlow. FTR came out with Dax's daughter. Jay Lethal came out with the shirt that said "Fight like a 10-year-old brat," not the girl. So we put a little heat on here. We spiced it up a little bit, but this was still a solid match. Didn't need to go long, and it didn't. FTR won by hitting the big rig, and Wardlow hit the Powerbomb Symphony on Jay Lethal. So this was a solid affair. We can move on from the story. We might get one more TNT title match between Wardlow and Jay Lethal, but that's fine for now. After the match, Singh and Dutt and everybody tried to attack. We're going to attack Wardlow and FTR until Samoa Joe came back and made the save. And Dax's daughter broke Sanjay Dutt's pen. They got to leave everybody home happy. This was good. Next up, another match that I felt like was cut short. Absolute Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and this was a go match. It's going 5 minutes, and it was just over. Hobbs just landed a spine buster out of nowhere and pinned Ricky clean. Now that's how you treat a star. Ricky looked good. Hobbs looked good. They both were elevated from this match. Ricky let his emotion get a hold of him, and Hobbs took advantage of that. That's just how it goes. Next up, in my opinion, the match of the evening, the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee defending against the Acclaimed. And wow. Sometimes you have to call an audible, and this is one of those times because the Acclaimed were super over. And here's the thing. Swerve and Keith Lee were getting booed, but they're not heels. And if they were fighting anywhere else, they would not get booed. And it's only because of Chicago, or if it was New York or Philly. So don't let the crowd sway you. Swerve and Keith Lee are over. It's just that the Acclaimed are more over. And this was good. This was such a fun match. Wow. Everybody was involved. Everybody looked great. The hardest thing was the Acclaim trying to take control of Keith Lee, and it happened here and there, and Max Caster got to show off some of his power, and I like that Anthony Bowens feigned an injury using them words that Swerve said, that your body keeps letting your partner down. And this was such an awesome match. If you can go back and watch any one match from last night, watch this match. There were so many near falls, so many kickouts, and Swerve finally won it with the double stomp to Anthony Bowens' chest. This was good. Keith Lee offered to scissor Billy Gunn. He hesitated, but he did it anyway. The fans booed. I know they wanted the Acclaim to win. I wanted the Acclaim to win. But don't let the crowd's overreaction. Judge and sway. Keith Lee and Swerve are still over, but the Acclaim were just on another level. To like, sometimes you have to call an audible. Remember when there were two audibles and WWE should call, and they were both with Santino? One was when he's in the Royal Rumble, the other one was the Elimination Chamber. Sometimes you just got to call an audible, but we have to see what's next for the Acclaim. At some point, that they got to win the championship. The scissors is over. The raps are over. This was such a great match. I recommend it. Next up, the AEW Interim Women's World Championship. Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, and Toni Storm. In my opinion, of this match, anyone but Britt, and in the end, Toni Storm won with a couple of DDTs. The story of this match, though, honestly, was finally we saw Britt cost Jamie the match. Jamie had the match won. She landed a ripcord clothesline on Shida for a near fall, but it was a near fall because Britt pulled the ref out of the ring. Yeah, and Jamie couldn't believe it. Now we're starting to see the true colors. I'm so happy everyone's turning on Britt. But Toni Storm won. This was solid. And I really liked it. I'm happy that Toni won. Looks like she was already supposedly going to win anyway, but now I'm looking forward to her defending the championship, her putting on these good matches, and then eventually taking on Toni Storm. That will be a really fun and solid match. Next up, Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and I like that he's going by Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And this match was also cut short because Christian has an injury, but this actually worked for the story. Christian came out, taunted Jack Perry's mother and sister. He caught a slap, and as Jungle Boy was coming out, Luchasaurus just came out and murdered him. Chokeslam on the stage, chokeslam through the table. And Jack tried to fight back once he got into the ring, but it was over. Christian with a spear, Christian with an impaler, and it was over. Kill switch, unprettier, impaler, kill switch, and it was over. That's a way that if you're going to have all these matches on the card, make one of them short, make one of them a squash, and this works. And here's the thing about Luchasaurus in his turn. When he turned heel and then turned back to face, he never changed his gear. He never changed his mask. He was still wearing the all black. Like, let that sink in. He was still wearing the all black. So now question is, where do we go? Do we have Jack Perry fight for the soul of Luchasaurus just to get back at Christian Cage? I'm fine with that. Next up, the Lionheart, Chris Jericho, coming in his old Lionheart gear and music, taking on the American Dragon, Dusty The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, not the American Dragon, Dusty Rhodes. Oh Lord. This was to prove it, to show who was the better wrestler, and for all intents and purposes, it was Danielson. But here's the thing. Jericho wins not because he was the better wrestler, but because he cheated. Because he cheated. And this is the one thing Garcia didn't want Jericho to do, was to cheat like this. He didn't want him to cheat at all, but he still cheated to win because he knew he was outmatched and out. It was going to get out wrestled. And the JS came out, all of them. Sammy, Ty, Anna, 2.0, Hager, no Garcia. And the story is ultimately to help get Daniel Garcia over. I could definitely see Daniel Garcia joining the Blackpool Combat Club when this is all said and done. But this was a very, very good match. Solid match. And we move on. I'm surprised this match. I thought this match next would have been the opener. It was Miro, Darby Allin, and Sting versus the House of Black. And the story was that Miro would not tag in Darby Allin. He would not tag in Sting. And Darby had to tag himself in. But the ref didn't see it. Sting got the hot tag and made the comeback. And then soon, the House of Black took control. But Sting is just too much. Sting is just too much. Brody Lee tried, but Miro was able to counter him. And Sting hit Aleister Black with the Misk. Darby applied the Last Supper pin. 1, 2, 3. This went 12 minutes. It probably could have been cut down to about 8. Sting got a lot of offense here, and he's still undefeated. Sting, last time I checked, Sting, Jade, and Hook are undefeated. I think they might be the only undefeated wrestlers in AEW. Sting, Jade, and Hook. Wow. And in our main event, before we even get to the main event, Shivani was interviewing Daniel Garcia. Jericho interrupted and asked, where were you to congratulate him on his win, being the greatest wrestler ever? And Jericho wanted to know. Garcia said, I never doubted you. I never said you weren't the greatest. I respect that, but I told you not to cheat. I asked you not to cheat. I asked you to prove something, and you still cheated. And Jericho said he respects the conventions, but he let him down too because you didn't come out and celebrate me. This is going to be good. So we're going to get this Garcia-Jericho match. And Jericho said he won't be there when Garcia takes on Wheeler Yuta for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. This is good. This is good, solid storytelling. In our main event, Jon Moxley, CM Punk, AEW World Championship. And to say the least, this was a Punk was cut open the hard way. Like, he was bleeding profusely. And Mox was, he was in enemy territory. I mean, Punk had an early GTS, and it looked like it was going to be a straight squash and an opposite repeat of what happened a couple weeks ago, but it didn't. And these two were able to fight. These two were able to just beat the holy hell out of each other. Move after move, counter after counter. And Punk won with multiple GTSs. Mox did his best, but it wasn't enough. And Punk was always going to win this match. Punk was always going to win this match. And it helps to have a badass and a true star like Mox be able to help kind of move them along. Not to say that Punk needs it, but listen, he's getting on the opposite end, and Mox is a star. So this was a really, really solid main event. My match of the night is still the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, but this is the second best match of the night. And then after the match, Punk celebrating in the ring. The lights go out. We get an audio clip in his voicemail of Tony Khan telling MJF that he would swallow the pill, and for the sake of the fans, he'll put him in a ladder match. He'll give you more money. He won't force you to sign an extension. And that's his final offer. The screen then showed Punk and Ring of Honor in his Ring of Honor pipe bomb, saying the greatest thing the devil ever did was make everyone think he didn't assist. And the masked man from earlier in the show showed up and said, well, I am the devil himself. Threw the scarf on. MJF is here. He walked out on the ring. Walked out to the stage, swag and all. And he's the next challenger. He's got the chip. Because the devil is back, as Taz said. And that's how you end a pay-per-view. Tony and MJF kept this quiet. Like quiet. And they pulled it off. Was it a work? Was it a shoot? Who knows? But they fucking pulled it off. This was great. This was a great way to end the pay-per-view, and I am genuinely, thoroughly excited to see what's going to happen next. But that's it. That's what just happened. AEW All Out 2022. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the socials. Check out the coffee page, Linktree, all of that. Come back this Saturday for the newest episode of the High Risk Wrestling Podcast as we take a look at NXT 2.0 so far, the shit show that it is. Host, here's